In the center of the desert called Ithra's Hollow, where no wind dared to whisper and no shadow dared to move, there stood a temple carved from a single piece of stone. No one knew who built it, or how it remained unbroken when the rest of the world had turned to dust. Its surface glimmered faintly under moonlight, veins of silver pulsing just beneath the stone, as though something within it breathed slowly in sleep. The temple had no name, only a single phrase, carved across its face in a language older than light. For centuries, the world forgot it. Sand buried its lower half, and time wrapped it in silence. Until one day, the three wanderers came. They were not pilgrims nor thieves, but seekers, beings from the far edges of the known realms. Seren, the scholar, whose eyes could see the residue of memory left on all things. Kyle, the dream walker, whose thoughts could step beyond the boundaries of waking. And Mayra, the voice keeper, who could sing open stone and still the trembling of rivers. They came not for gold or relics, but for sound. Legends spoke of a hum beneath the desert, the last heartbeat of a dying god. Mayra heard it first, faint, low, steady, as if the ground itself called her name through sand. When they reached the temple, Kale pressed his palm to the stone. It was warm. Serene knelt, tracing the runes. No, it's remembering. The entrance yawned like a throat, vast, dark, lined with carvings that shimmered when touched. The three entered without torches. The walls glowed softly, lit by veins of pale luminescence that pulsed to the rhythm of a hidden heart. The deeper they went, the quieter it became, until even their footsteps vanished into the air. "It's like sound itself doesn't belong here," Mayra murmured. "Perhaps this place was built to contain silence." They descended spiral halls that curved inward endlessly, until they reached a wide chamber. At its center stood a door, vast, seamless, smooth as glass, colorless yet radiant. It had no handle, no keyhole, only a faint pattern rippling across its surface like water disturbed by distant thunder. Kale approached first. The air grew heavier, dense with invisible pressure. He felt thoughts not his own brushing against his mind. Seren frowned. A door cannot be aware. Mayra placed her hand against the surface. It was cold, impossibly so. Beneath her touch, she felt something vast stirring, like a dream turning in its sleep. She drew her hand back. "It doesn't want to be touched." They stood in silence. The faint hum of the world seemed to pulse through their bones. The inscription outside said, "All doors remember." If that's true, then this door is not meant to be opened. It's meant to be forgotten. They should have left. They almost did. But curiosity is older than fear, and some silences are too loud to ignore. Mayra began to hum, a low, trembling note that wove through the air like mist. The temple answered, its walls vibrating softly. Runes glowed brighter, ancient lines filling with light. Seren stepped closer, tracing his fingers in the air above the carvings. The lines bent toward him, like metal drawn to magnetism. And Kyle, he placed both hands upon the door. The hum grew deeper, resonant, beautiful in its enormity. Dust lifted from the ground. The light pulsed once, twice, then spread outward, enveloping the chamber in radiance. Then, with a sound like breath exhaled after eons of holding still, the door opened. There was no threshold, no seam, just the surface unraveling into ripples of light. Beyond it was not darkness nor space, but something that could not be named. At first, it looked like a vast sea of stars suspended in fluid motion. But the longer they gazed, the more it shifted. Galaxies folding into feathers, mountains blooming into light, rivers rising like inverted rain. Every shape contained another, every color spoke in music, and the music was alive. They felt it in their veins. The air around them trembled as if reality were inhaling. Seren fell to his knees, eyes wide. "It's thinking." Kale whispered, "No, it's remembering itself." From within the luminous expanse, forms began to emerge, silhouettes of beings made of memory and motion. They had no faces, only reflections of whoever looked upon them. One of them stepped forward, or perhaps the world itself leaned closer. Its voice wasn't sound, but sensation, warmth, weight, ache. Why have you come? Mara's lips parted, but words dissolved on her tongue. Kyle answered instead, though he didn't know why. To listen. The presence paused. Then listen. The light surged. The chamber disappeared. They stood within an endless space of flowing color, every breath a chord, every movement a phrase of some ancient language. They heard everything: the birth of stars, the sigh of dying worlds, the laughter of unseen children, the echo of rain falling on the first stone. And through it all, one heartbeat, immense, steady, endless. Myra wept. Seren trembled. Kale closed his eyes and felt the beat align with his own. For a moment they understood, not through reason but through resonance, that this was not a god nor a prison, but the memory of creation itself, sealed away so the world could forget how infinite it once was. Then the door began to close. Not violently, gently, as though the realm itself exhaled them. The light dimmed, the air cooled, the song faded. When it shut completely, the chamber returned. Empty, silent, small. But they were not the same. Serene's eyes glowed faintly, filled with constellations no sky had ever held. Kyle's voice carried harmonics that made stone vibrate. Mara's song, once soft, now bent the air around her like gravity. They stood before the closed door, unable to speak. "What did we hear?" Mara whispered. Seren's voice trembled. Not the beginning, not the end. Something between. Kale touched the door again. It was warm now, pulsing faintly beneath his palm. "It remembers us," he said. They left the temple before dawn. The desert greeted them with silence, but the air shimmered faintly as if listening. Behind them, the runes across the temple's face changed. The phrase once carved in forgotten tongue now read, "Every door is a heartbeat." And when the sun rose over Ethra's hollow, the temple vanished. Not crumbled, vanished, as though it had inhaled itself. Travelers who later crossed the desert claimed they sometimes heard a hum beneath their feet, a rhythm too vast and gentle to be mere wind. Some said it was the desert dreaming. Others said it was the sound of a door still breathing, somewhere beneath the sands. None of them ever found it, but those who came close swore that just before the sound faded, they heard a whisper. Faint, endless, beautiful. Not all doors lead outward, some lead back into the beginning.